Hi guys! Recently, an adoptive parent on Instagram responded to a video I made where I said I had the backs of people trying their best, including adoptive parents. Her encouraging response really meant a lot to me. It also helped me learn that some adoptive parents are hesitant to engage with adoptees because they're afraid of being the object of a lesson. That completely makes sense. I'm sure that there are also adoptees and first parents who feel the same way in adoption spaces online too. Anyone online being used as an example of something, especially if parenting mistakes are involved, can be traumatized by that. Part of the issue with inviting folks to my social media to engage is that they might not be aware of the rules of engagement. How can they show what their intentions are so that they know they're welcome here? So I wanted to share some of my rules of engagement as soon as possible because, as I said in my last video, taking care of that authenticity piece is important. And if you like them and want to use them as your own rules of engagement too, that's totally fine with me. First, I want to clarify that these are my rules, but that doesn't mean that they are the best rules. I have a lot of privileges in life that reserve my energy to be more patient, and another adoptee might not, and that's valid. No one can or should give to someone else what they don't have to give. And so these rules reflect what I personally feel I'm able to give. I also want to use that extra energy I have to help take on the labor of educating people and changing minds. That way, the work doing so is less burdensome for more marginalized adopted people. I also want to address the elephant in the room. I just did a huge blog post and one podcast episode with one more on the way about adoptive mother Abby Johnson. Let's talk about why. There's a big difference between someone who is trying their best and making earnest mistakes and Abby Johnson. Johnson is a huge public figure whose own rules for engagement include rudeness. Abby Johnson also went on national television and told over 15 million people information that is essentially untrue and socially irresponsible. I also think she knows what she's doing. And therefore, someone with that large and provocative of a following likely anticipated responses like mine. On top of that, I have been extremely respectful towards her when addressing it. When I think someone should be corrected, my goal is to address the impact that the person had, not to steamroll or hurt or shame the person. So my approach goes accordingly. Abby Johnson's impact on others is a lot bigger and more significant than someone who is just earnestly trying their best in something that they tweet or a comment that they make. I know the cognitive science behind this, so I know that making someone feel ashamed, embarrassed, like a bad person, or unintelligent predicts that they will double down on their existing beliefs even more. I also know that I make mistakes, and I know how I would want to be treated. I think people who are actually harmful to others should expect consequences, like others knowing what they said or wrote. I believe that to be true for my own behavior as well. Bottom line, I'm a social worker. And I'm obligated to uphold social work values in whatever I do. Those values are my rules of engagement for myself and how I treat others in online or offline settings. Well, let's talk about those values. Dignity and worth. Everyone has it and deserves to be treated as such. I do not attack or insult people, even really harmful people. This is interpersonal violence. Engaging in it hurts my own soul most of all. Social justice. A learning curve new people to my online spaces might have is the realization that I do not view the world as just. I do not justify bad things as happening because they're somehow deserved. Relationships. Even if I disagree with what a person says, they still mean something to someone. Oftentimes, that someone is their child. Speaking hurtfully about someone's relationships is off limits. Integrity. I'm open to being wrong. I appreciate others being open to being wrong too. I think we can discuss adoption as an institution without hurting people or assuming that someone is hurting us. Competence. I value science and intellectual honesty. I may address pseudopsychology and pseudosociology respectfully on my pages or in my comments because these trends hurt people. I'm uncomfortable calling anyone out most times. I don't invite people to a discussion only to treat them like garbage when they show up. I believe people should live free from harm, harassment, and humiliation. I believe everyone has a right to be free, safe, and secure, and healthy and thriving. I believe in freedom of thought and the ability to form one's own opinions. I believe that human rights issues like racism and sexism are not matters of opinion. So let's address the learning curve so that new people feel more confident engaging here. What is adoption? Adoption is a legal designation under family law in the United States. It is used in a broad spectrum of family types like tribal adoption, step-parent adoption, grandfamily adoption, second-parent adoption, etc. All adoptions involve loss. This is not a matter of an opinion. Typically, all the core parties to an adoption, especially the child, have a complex grief process of some kind. And all adoptions in the US involve legal processes that are outdated. In some cases, they are outdated by almost 100 years. Adoptees and first parents have the greatest disadvantages in this regard. What you may know about adoption may not apply to all the rest of adoption's parts, or the parts of each various kind of adoption. What may be generally true about adoption may not be specifically true within your own story. Approach adoptee stories this way. No one gets to tell anyone how to think or feel. It's very damaging to anyone, especially adoptees, to be thought shamed or emotion shamed over their own already difficult experiences by someone online who has no investment in their life or success. Everyone is the author of their own story, including kids, and it's the sacred job of every parent or caretaker of a child to respect a child's own development of their own story and being okay when a child or an adult adoptee's perspective is different from theirs. The primary client of adoption is the child. As a professional, I'm obligated to regard the most vulnerable people as being the most primary in situations involving human need. In adoption, this is children. Adoption is about meeting the needs of children, not meeting the needs of adults or families who want children. If we are ever confused about the right decision to make in adoption, we need look no further than human rights and child's rights and to ask ourselves, which decision is better for them first? Adoptees and all our parents are as complex as anyone else. Grateful, lucky, she chose life, and any other stereotype or simplistic concept is better left unsaid or unlearned, even if you know of people in the community who don't mind it. Adopted and fostered kids are not bad or broken, and I don't pathologize them in my online spaces. They have normal responses to adverse situations. They live with concepts even adults struggle to truly understand. They have rights, and I respect and protect children at all times on all my social media. I guess by now, maybe you've realized, and maybe I have too, that we have a lot to talk about. I like talking and engaging and learning new things from people who are different from me. I believe there are endless ways to do this with mutual respect. I believe people who are trying deserve my effort in return. And so I just want to thank you for watching this video and to wish you well in return.